Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Birds vs. Boys. We are back. We have been on a hiatus for the two of us for much different reasons. Myself, sleep deprived due to a second child, a toddler running around my house, as well as a newborn who actually turned 1 month today, which is insane. And Aiden sleep deprived because he was drinking all the beers in Greece. So we are in completely two different spectrums of life, but we have been brought back together because it is now post July 4th. It is 118 degrees outside every single day with the most humidity you've ever felt. But football's almost here. Aiden, how are you?
Football is almost here, so I'm good when it comes to that. I will say this. Europe is cool.
Mm-hmm.
I never really made it past like Gettysburg on a school.
Wait, this is your first time in Europe?
It's my second time. We went to Ireland when I was in high school.
You were sick.
And I was sick the whole time. So I didn't really do anything but lay in the hotel room. So this is my first time going. I went to Greece and I went to Madrid, Spain. Listen, the Europeans kind of have this whole thing figured out. I'm not going to lie. The one thing that we have going as a country here is our version of football. That cannot be beaten. That's our number one thing. The rest of it, though, I'm not going to lie, they've got a lot going. They're cooking over there.
And they also know how to throw a sporting event too. I've been locked in on the Euros as well. Speaking of Spain, you being there, they're probably the best team left in their version of football. But yeah, I mean, you go to Europe, it's different. They take those siestas during the day. You go to Italy, it's just you're drinking espresso whenever you want. You're drinking spritzes whenever you want. No one's looking at you sideways.
No. Well, here's two things about that. One, we had an Americano machine at the resort. I can't go back to regular life. Like, I'm not going to be able to. I didn't even have coffee yesterday. I was like, I can't go to Starbucks. No offense, Starbucks. I can't do it. I miss my Americano machine. It's the only thing that's keeping me alive and keeping me going. And two, I didn't realize in Greece, they just wake up at 11 and go till 3 a.m. Yep. Like their sense of time is so much different than here. Nothing even starts until like sunset, which, by the way, in Spain, it was literally 9:45.
Yep.
I was taking. I don't understand time zones and sunsets and places on Earth or geography or really anything about the globe. To be totally honest with you, I pretty much only know football. So
Isn't
this was
flat. Isn't it like this? Experience. Isn't it just a flat sphere?
The Earth?
Yeah, right. Isn't that what people say?
I think so. It seemed like it. They have mountains though in Spain, in Greece. Did not know that before this trip. They have them both places, and it's cool, and they're really cool.
Well, your next trip, I got to get you back to Spain and get you to Ibiza because actually, I don't think you'd come back.
There are certain places that we have to be careful. I got to be like one of those kids at Disneyland that they put on a leash so they don't get too far. Ibiza, Vegas, places like that, they got to put me on one of those little leashes so I don't wander too far and I make it home.
We went when we went to Ibiza, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago. I was like younger then, but still old. We were on a boat all day, drinking all day, partying. We had to actually go to bed to then wake up to go to the club to see Afrojack across the street.
This is what I heard from multiple people. It's like, no. It doesn't start until like 1 or 2 a.m. The bars here close at 2 a.m. That's when they're getting started. You take a little nap post dinner, which, by the way,
we got back from the boat at our hotel, went downstairs, had a dinner outside while watching Kygo perform, literally 40 feet from us. Went upstairs, went to sleep. Well, tried to go to sleep while my whole room was going the whole time, and then set an alarm to wake up to go downstairs across the street to see Afrojack. Just
amazing,
wild.
Amazing. And I'm sure the most beautiful sights and sounds that you've ever seen in terms of coastline and everything like that.
We have sights and sounds here in terms of Dak Prescott in a walking boot.
Now that I'm gone, perfect time for vacation because, now let's get into the swing of things with football. What's going on? What did I miss? You guys are surely in a great place now, right? You figured out all the contracts. Everyone's happy.
If you've missed it, I've missed it too because I haven't been sleeping and my eyeballs are falling out of my head. So, but I have been paying attention somewhat. So, there's lots of headlines happening, right? I'll move back a couple days and then we can move forward. Let's go back. I don't know if you saw this one with Malik Hooker and Micah Parsons. Did you see that?
No.
Okay. Malik Hooker was on a podcast, which is ironic. I think it was with Keyshawn Johnson, and he was asked about Micah Parsons' podcast and if it is a distraction. And he basically said, in not so many words, that, some things that were said on there, he wishes that, he would come check to make sure that everybody here was straight in the locker room first, and that if, the run defense is playing ass, why are you worried about a podcast when we could be working on this? And then that was put out. And of course it was clipped, right? Because that's what podcasts and good producers do. They find sound bites and they clip it, and he didn't do the whole thing. But then Micah Parsons retweeted it, because that's what Micah Parsons does, and says, "You're my locker mate. We've never said anything like this. Why didn't you just come to me about this? I record my podcast on the off day." And then 47 minutes later, deleted the tweet. So
gotta stay with it.
That's where we're at.
J. Cole, Micah Parsons, stop deleting things. You said it, stand on it now.
And it's 2024. People see things like this, and when people see things like that, they screenshot it. It won't go away just because you deleted it.
You can't delete it.
Going away.
Yeah, it's out there. You might as well keep it. This is that one's interesting because I think they're kind of both right. Like Malik Hooker is right in the sense of run it by me first if you're going to talk about it, or at the same time, Micah's like, if you're the locker next to me, feel free to bring it up, pal. We spent quite a bit of time together, so I don't think there's anybody wrong here. Would now on our podcast be a time to say that there might be too many podcasts? Is this a bad platform to say that there might be too many podcasts now?
It was just very ironic that he was talking about Micah doing a podcast while doing a podcast.
Yeah, every player has a podcast now, and some of them, it gets a little repetitive with the player podcasts.
Yep.
So this again, not helping ourselves by saying there's too many, but there might be.
Well, and crossing into a different sport, but a former player with a current player who have a podcast together are now coach and player. Are they going to continue to do their podcast together?
Apparently not.
Okay.
Which
makes sense.
Disappointing. But when the Lakers start 1-4, that'd have been a real juicy podcast. I would have paid, I would have a subscription to that podcast if they did it in season player coach like that.
It was just weeks at a time, no show this week.
Yep. Yeah, it was our schedules didn't fit. They lose by 25 to the Nuggets. Watch how fast they would have been we didn't have time this week to record a show.
It's amazing just and this is obviously an NFL show, but you were away too. I mean, sometimes you fly across the world and Paul George becomes a Sixer.
That happens. Listen, also a podcast. See, this is what I'm talking about. Too many podcasts. The Sixers, apparently all we had to do was go to Europe and forget about them to be back in. They had the offseason, the perfect offseason. They could not have done any better with planning this out for a year than what they did. But yeah, you're right. Sometimes you go to Europe.
Could have got Bronny.
What's up?
Could have got Bronny.
We got Jared McCain. We know a thing about too about TikToks. My nails, listen, they won a title. I'm painting my nails.
Him, Caleb Williams. Can you imagine if they win a title and Caleb Williams in the Super Bowl the same year?
Oh my God.
Everyone will paint their nails.
I think that you would have a lot of not the majority of the population, but a good, decent amount of population hopping on that trend if those guys are both good.
So that's the Micah Parsons thing. Obviously, he's still not paid. He has obviously another year in his deal before he can really hold in or hold out. But we'll see there. CeeDee Lamb was not involuntary workouts. Obviously, not at OTAs. There is talk now that he will hold out at camp. You and I think the smarter thing to do would be to report in Oxnard, California, and then, oops, my toenail fell off day one, and then go check into the Beverly Hills Hilton and sit by the pool and hold in until a deal gets done.
The hold in is the new holdout.
Yes.
Which is hilarious because it's just a holdout. But
you can't get fined because you report it.
Exactly. It's quiet quitting. It is the football version of quiet quitting, and you just don't get fined and stand on the sideline. It's actually the perfect day of work. You still get paid. You have to do nothing, and you actually get a raise for it. So the NFL, those players have really figured this out. They've cracked.
And you don't actually have to like stay on the grounds either.
Really? I thought you had to be there. Like you could be like you go to film, but you're not sweating your ass off in pads all day.
Or you just 2 days. You report, you take the free flight to California. It's then a closer private jet flight to Cabo from there than from Dallas. And you go work out at the, the resort that Zeke was at.
I was going to say, most people who fly to Cabo from the Cowboys get contract extensions. So it's probably a good idea.
Contract extensions that the team then regrets.
Although the CeeDee Lamb one.
Yeah, will not.
Probably the least regrettable one of all time.
And it is funny that I'll get to the Cole Beasley thing, but there's reports that he wants $32 million a year, or he will hold out. So we will see if that number comes to fruition.
Legitimate question: how much did Justin Jefferson get per year? I know the amount guaranteed, and I know his contract.
Yeah,
but per year, what was Justin Jefferson? Because Did we ever get to the bottom of it? We talked about this before Justin Jefferson signed. They're kind of playing this game of chicken, but I think you and I agreed like Jefferson is better, but statistically speaking, if you just if you did one of those blind resumes they did in March Madness where they're like, this is this team's win-loss, this is this team's strength of schedule, this is their top wins, here's their top losses, who would you pick? If you put those blind resumes of CeeDee and Justin Jefferson together, they're not that much different. So
Justin's getting 35 a year.
And CeeDee wants 32.
I would say yes for that. Yeah, I mean, like what?
If you're the Cowboys, what are we doing?
And I believe
32. Like on that barometer scale, Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the league.
And AJ Brown gets 32 a year. Amon-Ra St. Brown got 30. Tyreek gets 30. Jalen Waddle 28. Devontae Adams 28, Cooper Kupp 26, the Devontae Smith $25 million a year is just an absolute steal. He needs to fire his agent.
They can't keep letting us get away with this.
But I mean, what are we talking about here? Just under Justin Jefferson, tied with AJ Brown. Yes.
Yeah, like talent wise, that makes total sense.
Yeah. So
talent wise, age, everything. Like that is where he belongs.
So
deal.
Get it done.
What are we waiting on?
I have more confidence in this one than the other two in terms of Micah and Dak, because on top of the age and the production, it's that flash value, right? Jerry Jones gave him 88 for a reason. Jerry Jones likes flashy toys. That's what CeeDee Lamb is. He is the home run hitter. He puts asses in seats. He pulls out plays out of his ass that, you never think were going to happen. So Jerry's not going to let that go. He's going to get paid.
I think if you had the power rank the big three, it is CeeDee Lamb, far and away number one.
Yep.
Micah probably 2, Dak 3.
Yep.
I don't know if you agree, but
yeah,
you're right.
I would say if I had to guess which ones that they will absolutely keep, I think it's CeeDee 1, a gap, and then it's like 2A in terms of Dak and Micah. I would not be surprised if Mike has moved eventually.
Listen, I was gonna say it. I'm glad you brought it up. He's the one guy. I'm looking down the tunnel, and the light at the end of the tunnel. If you're the Eagles, I'd have my eye on Micah Parsons.
Would you give 2 ones for him?
What?
Would you give 2 ones for him?
I would let the relationship there deteriorate to the point that nobody would give you 2 first-round picks for him. And I think that could happen. And then I'd be like, you know what? Now let's talk. At
that point, I'm just keeping him.
Yeah.
I would not go anything lower than a 1 and a 2.
I mean,
he's a generational, but I also would think that's going to get resolved as well. He wants to be a Cowboy.
less confident in that. I feel like there is the potential that the relationship sours.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any potential. Like if the Cowboys screw this CeeDee Lamb thing up, like I don't think the fan base ever comes back because that's the final straw. But the Micah thing, I think there'd be enough finger pointing to be like, no, it was Micah, no, it was the front office. He was just too high maintenance. And it's just like, I don't care if he's high maintenance, just go out there and attack the quarterback. Yep. So he'd be the one that I'm looking at who could get moved or just flat out like he plays his 4 years on his rookie deal. And then we're like in a Daniel Jones, Saquon situation. Like, oh, we picked up the option and we'll give him the long-term deal in the end. But I would do a first and second for him if I were the Eagles. Would the Cowboys actually do that with us?
No,
probably not.
I don't think they send an absolute generational talent to their biggest rival.
They cannot. No, but
can't happen.
I'm keeping my eye on it. It's like, you know how Stranger Things is. It's been a few years and it's been a while since it's come out, and every once in a while you check and see if the preview came out, see if you're ready for it. That's what I'd be doing with Micah. Like,
well, that's like finally I saw this morning. There's finally going to be a sequel to The Devil Wears Prada. Finally,
is there?
Yeah,
there's
I saw
a Beetlejuice sequel. I found that out today. What did I also just see? There's a sequel to
something else that I was very surprised. Oh, Gladiator 2. I think I just saw.
Yeah, I saw that. I love how Hollywood must be the easiest job in the world. Like if you're
let's do that again.
Let's just do it again.
The show goes on.
The show goes on. I watched 4 movies on the way home from Europe.
It's the best. I can never sleep. I think I sleep on those planes, and then I sleep. It was like 17 minutes, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm awake.
Yeah, I wake up and I looked at they have the graphic of how far you are. I was like, did the plane move while I was asleep? We made it nowhere.
We are still in the middle of an ocean that seems to be growing.
On the way out, so there were bad storms last Sunday, so it just backed everything up at the airport. They let us on the plane, but then we sat there for 3 hours. We were just on the plane, so we fell asleep. And I woke up and I'm like, damn it, we're still in Philadelphia. Like I already slept an hour and we hadn't moved an inch.
You're like, I'm already ready to party. Let's go. What are we doing here?
Yeah. I was like, all right, we got a connecting flight. Let's get this show on the road.
Did you get free booze? Isn't it free alcohol on international flights?
We did. I think we were asleep the first time they came around. Because we got in the air and immediately I was like, all right, I'm out. So you do get free booze on international flights.
That's what I thought.
I didn't get it though. I fell asleep.
Oh, brutal. All right, back to the Cowboys. And speaking of divas and the whole thing with Cole Beasley, he's always chirping. He's the perfect chirpity chirp on Twitter, and he's always has to put his big beak into places where it's like I get it, Cole. And you know what's hilarious is like guys like that. Like, how do you lose the humbleness? You came from SMU. You were a nobody. You were a nothing. And you worked your ass off and you played well for the Cowboys. And then you got paid and you went to Buffalo. You know, you did well there. The whole COVID thing, of course, I think threw a whole new spotlight onto him. And now he's coming out and he's talking about, you know, I could do. No, you are not CeeDee Lamb. And I love that CeeDee quote tweeted and was like, I'll go route for route with you any day. I don't need 180 targets to get 1,000 yards. Like, and then of course, then Cole backtracked. He's like, oh, no, I didn't say that. I'm just giving perspective to the fans.
Why even burn the bridge though?
Yeah.
You know, like why burn the bridge with the Cowboys and CeeDee Lamb? It just from every perspective, that makes no sense. Like, how did that come up? That you thought that you are in the same class as CeeDee? Like nobody asked. No, like it'd be one thing if he was just like somebody asked, could you get CeeDee Lamb numbers? Nobody asked.
No,
you just input your own feedback
for no reason
and just hate on a current player on the team that you got your start and made it big and everyone seemed to like you when you were there. Like, why?
I just don't get it. I don't get it.
He'll have a podcast soon.
I'm surprised he doesn't already.
True. I'm
honest with
very
you.
surprised. Him and Enos Cantor can do one together.
It was hilarious. On another note, too, kind of speaking of Cole Beasley, I texted you last night. I was flipping through the channels trying to get the toddler to sleep, and there's the Cowboys Eagles on my TV, and it doesn't say the year or anything. It was like 6-9, and I'm just like thinking in my head, I'm like, what game is this? What game is this? What game is this? And my wife's like, why do you care? I'm like, why do I care? I'm like, I've obviously watched every second of this. And then immediately I was like, ooh, I think this is the overtime Amari Cooper 2018 game. And then she's like, yeah, hey, idiot. It says overtime thrillers in the top left of the screen. I'm like, yep, there it is.
There it is.
There it is. But it's just funny. Like, that doesn't seem that long ago, but seeing someone like Alan Hearns lining up for the Cowboys and who'd the football hit off of for Amari Cooper?
Rasul Douglas.
Yeah, it was Rasul Douglas, and seeing Darren Sproles playing, and it was Carson Wentz, and that was 2 years into Zeke's career, right? 2018. So it was like, and that was the year that they traded for Amari Cooper. Remember? Do you remember how they ended up getting him?
Not entirely. I mean, I remember them getting him, but
and I think if this did not happen, they would not have gotten him. They were in Washington. I believe it was the week before their bye. It was like a rainy, shitty game, and they went for a field goal to win the game, and it hit off the upright and boinked, and they lost. And like all hell was falling down. And then Jerry went out and traded the one for Amari, and then that changed their season. It really did.
Yeah. Especially that game. Like, that was such a track meet that decided after that game, all the Eagles fans thought, this is it. We're not making the playoffs. And then obviously Nick Foles resurrected from the dead, saved the season. But in that moment, there was like, that was like for the division, and that was it. And
it flashed on the screen in the yardage in the fourth quarter, and it was like 553 yards for the Cowboys, like 220 for the Eagles.
There was a certain point in the game where I think the Eagles scored, and then Amari Cooper had a 75-yard touchdown on the following play. And
he had over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game.
Yep, I believe it. It was just like a fantasy football match made in heaven. There was like the throw from Wentz to Aguilar to the 1-yard line after that. You know, it was endless. I don't think there was a single stop in the fourth quarter. There wasn't even one in overtime.
I don't think no. But we will get back to that because Aiden's got a little fun game to play at the end of the show here about Cowboys Eagles rivalry games. But before that, and before we get into Eagles, I got one last of the three. Let's get into Dak. Obviously, the other big elephant in the room here in terms of his contract. He was also seen on vacation, just like you, Aiden, the other day in Cabo. I don't know if he was there. I saw he was also at Tyron Smith's wedding. Tyron Smith just got married. He was dancing like crazy on the dance floor and having fun. I was waiting for his hamstring to blow out there, but it looks like he left Dallas and he found happiness. So congratulations, Tyron. Good for you. But I don't know if he was at the wedding. If the wedding was in Cabo, it did look like it was a beach, or if this was also a different place. He was just on vacation with his family, but in a walking boot. Somebody snapped a picture, and it was like 3 paragraphs in Spanish, and that was it. And it was tweeted. And I was like, where's the translate button? I don't know what's happening here.
I never need a translate button quickly.
But everybody freaked out. It was literally on the top of every headline on every ESPN show. And then, a couple days later, Dak's wife tweeted out a picture of him walking, giving this. He's like, the boot boys are. So it apparently he had a couple really strong workout days, and his foot that has been surgically repaired was a little sore. He was going on a fishing trip with the boys, and he just wanted to make sure it was protected. And that was it. Then they showed him running and everything. He's fine. This is something I have no worries about.
Not even a little. It worries you at all that he had a few hard workouts and his leg was so sore he needed a walking boot.
It happens. You're getting older, man. Trust me. I know what that feels like. I know what that. If it was seen for multiple times and days, and he wasn't going on a fishing boat, then yeah. but we'll see. I mean, I don't have to worry about it until we report to Oxnard. And speaking of reporting to Oxnard, Mike Tag, make sure I win that all expenses paid free trip to Cowboys camp that you're giving away.
That's going on.
Yeah, I entered both of us. So
okay, that would have been very funny if I won a trip to Oxnard, California. I'm assuming it's you and a guest.
I believe so.
So if I won, I'm taking you, even though I wouldn't know that I won.
So yeah,
that is so funny.
That would be funny if you didn't take me and just all week you just sent me pictures of the middle finger, just like with players.
Oh yeah, that would actually be funnier. The funniest possible outcome is you didn't tell me you entered me. I won, and then for some reason somebody else.
What is this?
That's hilarious. I didn't even know that was going on. That would have been our best content if I somehow win.
You just get an email.
Tell me that we. All right. Mike
Tag just calls you.
Yeah.
Like, why is this guy
like, it's a little early in the year for the Mike Tag voicemail. You want to go to Oxnard?
Sure. Speaking of podcasts. But no, I mean, I'm not too worried about it. We'll see. When he gets to Oxnard, if he's limping around, if he doesn't look good, if all of a sudden he can't participate, then I will hit the panic button. And we'll see what happens with the contract. Of course, he did his DAC line. I'm letting the agents deal with that, and I'm going to worry about me being at my best and my players around me being at my best, because that's what DAC does. So
I think the worry's a 2 out of 10, but I'm not.
No, yeah. Did I think about it? Of course. But am I losing sleep over it? No.
That's me every time the Phillies lose a game. Am I thinking about it? Yes. Am I losing sleep over it? No.
I'm losing a little more sleep about the Yankees free fall.
They're struggling?
My God. I think they've lost like 13 out of the last 15 games.
What?
Oh, yeah. See what happens when you go to Greece?
I seriously have been. I wasn't on social media. We obviously don't have TV. They're 7 hours ahead, so they're playing baseball at 3 a.m. Yep. I missed everything. I didn't realize that happened.
Yep. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yep. They've been on a struggle bus. But, so we'll see. Cowboys getting ready, locked and loaded. The NFC East champions. We haven't had a repeat champion in 45 years. So, yeah, life is good.
Well, yeah. Well, we'll see.
As the shirt says,
feeling lucky.
What do you got?
You always need a little luck. I have nothing Eagles wise. This actually feels great. Like, enjoy these moments right now where you don't have anything, because there'll always be something from here on out. Whether it's a player breaking out in camp, a player struggling in camp, who's going to make the roster in camp, how does
Saquon Barkley had to sit out one day?
Yeah, put Saquon Barkley in a walking boot, and my panic level's a 9 out of 10. It's funny how it works when it's somebody else's team versus your team.
Yep.
Let him have 2 hard workouts and his ankle hurts, and they will have to perform an exorcism on me.
Mm-hmm. That's what happens. This is the calm period.
And I love it. I feel like this is a great point. I can't wait for training camp to start. I can't wait to talk where do we draft our guys in fantasy football and all that.
Yep.
I mean, I really truly don't have anything Eagles wise, and it feels good. Like that, I know that we're talking Jalen Hurts and Sirianni. It's like, I'm so glad to not have to worry about that in July. This is the perfect time. The perfect time. Everyone, they all were at the Devontae Smith charity softball game, which biggest bag fumble I've ever had on this podcast, by the way, because they DM'd us 2 years ago to like retweet it, and I missed the tweet, and now it's blown up like tenfold. So we would have been in there. So that's my bad. So I'll make it up to you in Oxnard when we win that giveaway.
When we're out there with Jay Tuck and all of them. Speaking of podcasts.
Yeah, there's a lot of podcasts.
There are. All right, we're going to keep this short today because obviously it's the middle of summer. We talked a lot about the Cowboys. Not much happening with the Eagles. So this is BVB. So Aiden, why don't you tell me what you want me to do here and see if I can do it?
All right. Can you guess the top 6 ranked Eagles-Cowboys matchups of all time? I'll let you in on some hints. There's 2 from this century.
This century?
4, yeah. So 2000 and on, they have 2 of them.
Okay.
That's
it.
There's all of them are within your yes, all of them technically are within your lifetime except for 1, and 2 are somewhat recent. So
all right. Well, I'll guess
you're
the
better
except
at
for.
guessing this than I.
All right.
I would be
let me guess the except for 1 in my lifetime. I was born in 1987. So the except for 1 was that the 1980 NFC Championship game?
That would be correct. That is number 1.
That is number 1.
Only
Yeah, that makes
time
sense.
our 2 teams have played in the NFC Championship against each other.
Yep. So I mean that has to be on there.
Yeah. Great guess.
Next one I would guess in my lifetime, since the rest of them are in my lifetime. I'm going to do the 1987. The fake kneel down.
That did not make the list.
Wow.
Yes.
Whew. Okay. Then that's that. I can't believe that, but okay. 1995, the 4th and 1.
Correct.
They stopped them again.
Yep. That would be number 3.
Okay.
Wait, sorry. That was number 2. So you actually have 1 and 2. That's a great. You're on a roll.
All right. I mean, I have to put the Pickle Juice game on there. 2000.
That's 6.
Okay.
So I guess that technically is the century too. 2000. Sorry. So there were 3, like top 5. If you want to consider that like the 6th, that was 6.
Okay.
So you've got 1, 2, and 6, and there's the 2 from this century that you have not guessed. And I'll be honest, that game that we talked about earlier from 2018 is not on there.
Okay.
Which is surprising.
Yeah. Yep. I'm going to leave that off then. I probably would have put that. This is probably not on there, but it's hilarious, and I feel like we have to. Is the He's Our Baby game on there? Jeff Garcia in 2006?
It is not.
That
one is one of my favorite. If I'm making the list, that would be in my top 5. It's not.
All right. Not that.
And I think it would be, but they have some going, like some of the ones in the top 10 further back. Those ones are like the first time they ever played, it's pretty far back. So if you put a timeline on it and capped it at like the 90s, I feel like that would have made it.
What about I think it was 2006 when T.O. returned to Philly?
Yeah. Do you have a specific one? There's a time when he comes back to Philly.
That was his first time back there, right? In Dallas?
Yeah. I think this is the second time back. It's a very
was that the Witten helmet game?
No, that one's not on there. There's one when T.O. comes back, but it's a very specific score game, if that helps.
That's not the Desperate Housewives one, is it? No.
They left a lot of good moments off this list.
Yeah. Which one? All right, what was it? I'm trying to think.
This one is 5, and it is when the 44-6 game. So T.O. was on the team, but I don't think that was his first time back.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was the bludgeoning.
So you need 4 and 3.
Is the final game of 2013 with Kyle Orton on there with the Boykin interception?
No. Which again, I was gonna say how these aren't on the list is crazy to me.
Can you give me years?
So one of them is in our lifetime. It is very close to that 2008 44-6 game. And then there's one that is. When were you born?
87.
Okay, so this is in your lifetime, but early on.
I'm blanking on both.
They're both.
I got 3 out of the 6.
They're both Cowboys favored.
Wins?
Yes. Interesting list. I will admit. If I had to, maybe if we have time, we'll do our own list. We'll do that next week. Just create our own list.
I don't know.
They
Hold
don't
on.
have like huge moments in the game. But I
Oh,
think
wait. Wasn't it? Is it 2008? The final game of the season? Dallas won. It was like 41-34.
yes, and then they
Okay.
won the next week too. So
Yes.
they technically put the
Yes.
playoff game that was the week after, and
Yep.
the Cowboys get revenge and they get their playoff win the year
Wasn't
after.
that the one where McNabb was like doing the thing when he was walking out to the fans?
Yep, he was doing the air guitar and they
Yeah,
lost.
yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
number 4. And then you got number 3. Similar.
What
That's
year?
a hit.
What year?
It was 92.
I can't remember.
I'll
Dallas
give you this
won.
one. Dallas won. So at
Hmm.
3 and 92, it was the Cowboys' first win over the Eagles in their history. And it spawned the Super Bowl run.
Okay.
So
Yep.
that was number 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you did pretty good, and I think that list is a little interesting. I think you kind of have to cap it in eras to do it right.
Yes.
I think when we do it, we'll do like top 5, top 6 of our lifetimes.
Yeah.
Because I think you mentioned a lot of good ones that happened, like the Kyle Orton, Brandon Boykin game wasn't on there. 2008 was a crazy game, offensive shootout. So those I feel like would be there.
I was at the
Jeff
Boykin
Garcia
interception game. I was at the Witten helmet game.
That's another one. There's a lot of iconic moments in there. Christmas game. I forget what year this. When was because this was like when Brian Dawkins was on the team, but
when he fell down at the one.
Yeah, I was gonna say the goal line stand game for the Eagles on Christmas.
Like 06.
It was in my lifetime, but it was like early. Like it was like
I think it was
Dawkins, Sheldon
06.
Brown. Yeah. 06
Really?
was Jeff Garcia. This might be even. You're right though, because Marion Barber was the running back for the Cowboys. Yeah. So I think we'll have to make our own list based on this lifetime. So that'll be the next week.
Let me see what Brian. It was Westbrook, wasn't it?
Brian Westbrook. Yeah. Was that the same game that we got the goal line stand though? I'm trying to think.
Westbrook takes a knee at 2007. 2007.
Another one that may make the list. I don't even know who wins this game, but the pass to Freddie Mitchell.
Yep. I think the Eagles won that one.
As far as a game goes, that was really the only memorable play. If you did iconic moments, it would probably be in there. I don't know if you'd rank it in like the top 5 games though.
I'm trying to think. What about the what about the Deshaun Jackson, like the 91-yard and he fell into the end zone?
That was on another list that I saw, but it was like top 5 Eagles moments in the rivalry.
Moments, yeah.
So that'd be interesting if I'd have that in my top 5, probably. But when you do moments versus games, it's a little different. But yeah, so
would you have, if you had top 5 moments though? It's like, do you put that do you have 2 Deshaun Jackson moments? Because like, do you keep that in and the Miracle of the Meadowlands?
Well, Miracle of the Meadowlands for sure. Yeah, I don't think the Deshaun Jackson 91-yard touchdown against the Cowboys would be my top 5 moments of all time.
Mention.
Eagles Cowboys, it would be top 5 probably.
Yeah.
In terms of like Eagles moments ever, I mean, that probably. I don't know if it cracks the top 10 to be honest.
Eagles Cowboys moments.
Eagles Cowboys moments for sure. But you're talking like Eagles moments ever, like in my lifetime. Like Philly special, Miracle of the Meadowlands. I'm thinking of those 2 off the bat.
T.Y. Hilton.
The 3rd and 30. That's my worst moment of all time. That would be top 1 on my how the hell did we let this happen moments.
It was even funnier for me the way it happened for me because it was Christmas Eve. I was at my wife's house. Emma was still a little baby. I went upstairs because I don't know why I got summoned to do this during a Cowboys-Eagles game, but I did. And I was upstairs giving her a bottle by myself. And I'm watching the game on my phone as I'm feeding this child a bottle, and my phone is delayed. So I hear downstairs her family, all Eagles fans, cheering like crazy. I'm like, damn it. And then it was third and third. And then I was like, and then I hear the, what? How could you? What? I'm like, oh, what happened? What happened? And the kid's like, the bottle's fall, and the child. I was like, ah!
The chaos of living it through the background noise is always funny. What happened? What happened?
Hilarious. All right. Speaking of children, I have to go take care of one.
He doesn't mean me.
Which is not named Aiden.
And we'll see what top moments the Cowboys and Eagles give us this year.
That was fun.
So close. That was fun to relive the past before we get into the future. We're a few weeks away from training camp. So this is where the content kicks off. I'd say we're refreshed, but one of us is taking care of two kids. Only one of us got to go on vacation. But we're close. We're so close to football. A lot more content coming now. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. It keeps going up and up. Anywhere you find podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Google, the TikTok, you'll see the rankings there that we just did, and we'll keep it rolling. This is where we kick off. This is where it really gets started for us between the draft and the start of the season. These are the fun moments. So we'll
get ready.
We're getting the storm is brewing over the horizon.
It's either because of a walking boot or a contract. Cowboys might be in their Trey Lance era.
And I hope the Eagles have to deal with neither of those things.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We are back in full force. And the closer we get to the season, the more content we shall produce for you. Enjoy the heat.
Go to Greece if you can.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things.
I got 2 phones.
Upset alert. Upset alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach.
That is
the team you promised me you were going to be this year!
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.